So you guys are doing what again about what? This is why we can't have nice things, dude. It's time. We need to have a talk. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. And with this whole like toxic fandom thing going on suddenly with like Snyder fans and the new Superman movie coming out, I'm like, yeah, it's time, because this hurts. Because even though I grew up a Marvel fan and a DC fan, yes, you can be both. My heart is really with DC because that's really what I grew up with as a child. And to see you guys cannibalize each other now, I'm like, really? Yeah, so this video is for Snyder fans, people that are excited about seeing the new Superman movie come out, and comic book movie fans in general. Because there's some stuff that needs to be put into perspective for some of you that maybe have not thought this through when you go all like toxic fandom. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the passion, but dude, yeah, we need to talk. So in this video, we're going to go over Zack Snyder versus James Gunn. Like, what is this? The dark ages of being a comic book superhero fan. Then we're going to go over the Snyderverse, James Gunn Superman, who the real villains are that Snyder fans should actually be mad at. Spoiler alert, it's not James Gunn. And what it would actually look like if a superhero movie that's supposed to launch a universe, like James Gunn's upcoming Superman, were to actually fail at the box office. So the Snyder versus James Gunn thing is this push by fans of the Snyderverse who are upset that the plug was pulled on the Snyderverse, which included Henry Cavill's Superman, which I appreciate and respect a lot of people grew up with. James Gunn's now in charge of the entire DC, and he is launching his universe with a new Superman movie and Superman being played by David Corenswet. Snyder fans are pissed, which if you're really that mad, I mean, normally I would be like, just don't go see the movie. But no, dude, there's a whole push going on here. Talking about posting a ton of fake negative reviews so the audience score is low, or ones that are go see the movie and just fill up the internet with like spoilers to just ruin the viewing experience and basically do anything possible to hurt a film you haven't seen yet. And listen, man, even though I don't agree with this approach, I do understand why Snyder fans are upset, and we're gonna go over it. But first, let me tell you guys how things used to be. Oh, yeah. Guys, you have no idea how good you have it. Not only how good our movies and heroes look now, yeah bro, shit was rough back in the day, but also how seriously these films are taken and how accepted it is to be a fan. Like back when I was in middle school, if you wore a superhero shirt or had collectibles, they were called toys back then. You'd be made fun of and bullied. I mean, if not, guys my age would all still own their Millennium Falcons from when they were kids. Like there was a legit hard cutoff for liking this stuff. That included watching animation, which by the way, back then it was called cartoons. Like you couldn't walk into your classroom being like, bro, did you see Super Friends last night? Or like freaking G.I. Joe or Transformers? No, bro, you'll get your ass kicked. Oh, and you can forget about girls. Being geek was not cool. Now can you not only find girls that like this shit, but they'll dress up for you? You guys have it so freaking good, dude. Wow. Like instead of banging on your keyboard like, I hate this movie I've never seen, maybe you should just be banging on something else. Okay, so real talk. I have always been more of a Batman fan, and my favorite is the Dark Knight trilogy. So I have to admit, I like the darker tone of the Snyderverse. Even though Henry Cavill was a big departure from the majority of Superman source material, I was okay with some change. And the fact that Snyder was going for more like a New 52 Injustice thing. And listen, I love the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel and never thought in a million years I would see that fight on the big screen. I got that shit right here. Are you kidding? So thank you, Zack Snyder. I will forever be appreciative of that. To let you know I'm a fan, I even understood the whole Martha thing. I liked it actually. It humanized Superman to Batman's eyes and it made Batman realize how much of a dick he was being. So I got it. But let's be honest, there was some hit and miss with the Snyderverse. More on that in a few, which is why you have to watch the whole thing. But dude, we got a cool dark Superman. Wonder Woman was fantastic, at least her first film, before Wonder Woman in 1984 went all like Superman 3, which was weird. Aquaman was cool, even though I never really envisioned him as like a Hell's Angel biker, but okay. Listen, something I totally have to thank the Snyderverse fans for is that push for release the Snyder Cut. After Zack Snyder had to bow out of finishing Justice League because of a horrible family tragedy, Joss Whedon came in and edited the film and finished it. And it was a cheesy shit show. Years later, the Snyder fans came out with like pitchforks and torches demanding the release of the Snyder version of the film, which Took the film from 2 hours to 4 hours. An amazing 4 hours, because Zack Snyder's Justice League is absolutely incredible, and I thank Snyder fans for that. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers made a decision, based on several factors that I will get into, to end the Snyderverse and give the DC Universe a fresh start with a second try. And I get that Snyder fans are disappointed, but some of the stuff that I'm seeing, dude, like Harvey Dent said in The Dark Knight, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? Yeah. One thing I've learned in my age is the only thing that's consistent is change. James Gunn has an impressive resume, dude. The Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, all of his superhero stuff has been well received by critics and audiences. And listen, man, I get why Snyder fans may be freaking out looking at the tone of the upcoming Superman, because it is very different than what they are used to. But guys, understand, if I'm being super generous and including cameos, Henry Cavill was Superman for 9 years, which I appreciate because in those 9 years, he was a lot of people's Superman. Yes. But just so you know, as great as those 9 years might have been, there are almost 9 decades of this character. And those 9 decades of source material includes Crypto the dog, Superman robots, a Lex Luthor that doesn't have a weird, overly dramatic ADHD thing. I can say that because if you are new to my channel, I have ADHD. Never actually said that out loud, but I mean, if you can see 2 or 3 of my videos, you'll figure that out. People are even complaining about him wearing trunks. Was Henry Cavill the first Superman you've ever seen? Have you never seen any other? Bro, the trunks are normal. And yeah, Superman is a cheesy, goody two-shoes, freaking Boy Scout. That is why the contrast between him and Batman is so entertaining. It's not the Snyderverse where everyone's going to be the Dark Knight pretty much, which is the criticism I actually had of the Snyderverse. James Gunn Superman that introduces the new DC universe looks colorful as shit, like a living, breathing comic book, which is maybe something we need right now, like a little hope, a little positivity, I don't know. And listen, man, everyone has a favorite Superman, one they grew up with. I grew up with Christopher Reeve. He's iconic to me. I got this shit when I was 5. That's the big box VHS, dude. I didn't really love him. To me, the only great Christopher Reeve Superman movie was Superman 2. That's 1 out of 4. Still iconic though, and I'm gonna give every Superman that comes around a chance. And everyone has their Superman. There's some guy out there that thinks Brandon Routh is probably the greatest Superman because he was just the right age when he saw the movie. And David Corenswet is gonna be a Superman for a lot of kids, man. Why would you freaking ruin that shit? Or even try to? As a Star Wars fan, if I can accept that some kid out there loves the Phantom Menace and its trade embargoes and Jar Jar Binks, you do you, dude. Let this new generation have their Superman. And for what it's worth, it looks like it might actually be the closest thing to the source material we've ever had. I mean, they brought in Jerry Siegel's grandson to read the script, and he got emotional saying this is a Superman his grandfather always wanted on screen. And listen, the movie might totally suck, but as far as look and tone, yeah, it's the source material. And something that really makes me happy is that this is a universe that actually looks like we can have a Justice League versus Legion of Doom, which has a comic fan and someone that used to watch the Saturday morning cartoons. If I ever see the Justice League versus Legion of Doom in live action, I'm not getting teary-eyed, bro. I'm gonna like freaking ugly cry. Yes. So sometimes to find your villains, you have to take a step back and look at all the evidence. And instead of being like, get James Gunn, there are 2 real villains here who are not called James Gunn. The first is the Warner Brothers execs. Zack Snyder was not given a fair shot. He really wasn't. He was brought in to kick off the DCEU, and it was an unfair rush job because the Warner Brothers execs were more focused on catching up to Marvel and their Avengers movie than actually delivering a quality product that takes time. And as soon as I saw this approach, I was already like, yeah, the Snyderverse is not going to work. This was a total rush job for DC to bang out their team-up movie. And look at the difference, dude. Marvel took its time, DC not so much. No time for a Man of Steel 2 or establish these other characters. They were just thrown into a movie and it was just awkward. And on top of that, Zack Snyder's daughter passed, which was horrible. And he had to bow out completing the Justice League movie. Who did the Warner Brothers execs bring in? None other than Joss Whedon, who did Marvel's Avengers. We got Zack Snyder's 4-hour version of the film, which showed us what Joss Whedon edited out. Dude, you can ride on Flash's back and visit 100 multiverses. There's not one universe where you edit the breathtaking scene of the Flash using the Speed Force to reverse time in the 3rd act. MTV Movie Awards took an audience poll on greatest comic book movie moment of the last decade, and that got number 1. Tony Stark's snap got number 2. But no, let's replace that Flash scene with the freaking Russian family. Yeah, what the f***? So instead of the James Gunn anger, maybe Snyder fans should be more mad at Joss Whedon, because once Justice League failed, the Snyderverse was on life support and limping after that. After a few years of hits and misses, Warner Brothers execs were over it, and they decided to bring in James Gunn. Yes, he decided to start fresh, but why? If you are given the keys to the kingdom, do you want them for 2 or 3 years? Or do you want them for longer? Ben Affleck wanted out. He felt too old. Henry Cavill was entering his 40s. He's now 42. Couldn't really bring back Ezra Miller with his off-screen stuff. Gal Gadot is now 40. And it sucks. I wish we got a Zack Snyder Justice League 2. I do. But this Snyderverse fail was mismanagement by Warner Brothers. And let me point out that Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't directly Warner Brothers. It was their division of HBO Max that gave him the money to finish his vision, which is why it premiered on HBO Max instead of theaters. Now, Snyderverse fans are wanting to bomb the movie with the fake reviews and anything else to try to make the new Superman movie fail. Personally, I think you should be focusing on other things than your keyboard, but let's entertain this for a minute. For not just Snyder fans, but every comic book fandom fan that wanted to go toxic. This is important, and where we rip the Band-Aid off. Movie studios don't care about your fandom. They don't care about your cosplay outfit or who your favorite hero is. They don't. They care about the bottom line. If you ask a studio what superhero property they want to buy, they're not going to tell you their favorite character. They're going to ask who makes the most money. That's just reality, guys. The only loyalty they care about from you is where you're spending your money. What ticket are you buying? And if they got to put a freaking pink elephant in a freaking Batman outfit running around, guess what? They're going to do that shit if you're going to buy the ticket. To me, the movie that changed everything is The Dark Knight. I personally call it the Dark Knight effect. It's not about how good the movie was or how many people liked it. The Dark Knight changed everything when it crossed that $1 billion mark. The first superhero movie to do that. Studios were like, what? Huh? They started greenlighting everything. Ask Kevin Feige at Marvel. The MCU would not have happened the way it did if it wasn't for The Dark Knight. But there is another side to that coin. Zack Snyder's biggest hurdle was the studio. But Warner Brothers understood its mistakes and decided to back off and basically give James Gunn carte blanche. What do you think happened if Superman fails? Zack Snyder's not coming back. Ben Affleck is not going to change his mind. Henry Cavill's not waiting by the phone saying, "You need me? I'll be right there." Whoo! No, it's not happening, guys. You know what will happen? The studios will start stressing out and they'll get involved again. James Gunn won't be able to work in these conditions properly. We're going to start getting more crap and they will pull the plug on Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and everyone for the next decade. We're just going to get 5 more Batman films with different actors. And the last 2 sequels will be more like toy commercials than freaking movies. Trust me, I've seen it. You don't want this. And listen, the new Superman might suck, and it's okay if it does. But there's some little kid out there that's going to have this be their Superman. Let him have it, bro. It's what Superman would do. And in the end, we are all comic book fans. Let's celebrate together. A win is a win. I have freaking Heath Ledger on my arm. I wouldn't touch Jared Leto, but guess what? If that's your Joker, yeah, sure. Guys, in the end, whoever we like, let's be like the Justice League, bro. Let's just form together as comic book fans. Be excited about this day and age and the fact that we get these kind of movies with these kind of effects. And let's just pray for a good one. I want to leave the theater happy. I don't want to leave the theater pissed. And the one thing I will tell you is watch it before you judge it. Yeah. Guys, are you excited to see the new Superman? Let me know in the comments. Also, please like, subscribe, and whatever all this stuff that I have. And thanks for watching.